The nurse who granted a dying patient's final wish. It was almost midnight when I heard the BP monitor in room 6 start beeping fast. I was halfway through updating my patient notes, but that sound makes every nurse move without thinking. I dropped my pen and ran. When I pushed the door open, Mr. Adrian was struggling to breathe. He was only 35, but the sickness in his heart made him look older in that moment. The doctor said it was heart failure, the kind that steals your breath and strength little by little. "Stay with me, Adrian," I said, checking his oxygen. His eyes flicked to mine, full of fear and pain. I pressed the call button for backup, but I did not wait. I started the oxygen flow higher, adjusted the mask, and began checking his pulse. 2 nurses rushed in, followed by the night doctor. They worked fast, giving him meds, trying to bring his BP back up. For a while the monitor screamed, and the room felt too small for all our fear. Then the line steadied. The beeping slowed. He was still with us. When it was over, the others left to attend to other patients. But I stayed. I could not bring myself to leave him alone. His skin was cold, so I warmed his hands in mine. I changed his IV bag, wiped his forehead, and made sure his pillow was right. He watched me quietly. "Why do you care this much?" he asked in a weak voice. "Because you're my patient," I said simply. He smiled faintly. "I have no wife, no child. Nobody stays. But you did." I stayed long after my shift ended. I sat beside him in the dim light, listening to the machines and his slow breathing. I told myself it was just my job, but something in his eyes made it feel like more. And that night, I did not know he was about to ask me for something that would change my life forever. When I came back to work the next day, the first thing I saw was Mr. Adrian's smile. It wasn't the weak smile of a patient, it was something brighter, almost peaceful, as if he had finally made peace with something heavy inside him. "Good morning, Nurse Mara," he said softly. His voice was fragile but clear. "Good morning, Mr. Adrian. How are you feeling today?" I asked, checking his vitals. He looked out the window. The morning light touched his pale face, and for a moment he looked almost healthy again. "Better," he said, "because I finally decided what I want." I frowned slightly. "What you want?" He nodded, then motioned for me to come closer. His hand trembled as he reached for mine. "You said you stay because I'm your patient, but I want to ask something that's beyond your duty as a nurse." I hesitated. "What is it?" He took a deep breath, as if gathering all his remaining strength. "Before I die, I want to see the sea one last time." The words hung in the air, quiet and heavy. Outside, the hospital's gray walls blocked the horizon. We were miles away from any coast. "I know it's impossible," he said quickly, noticing my silence. "I just thought maybe you could help me feel it. Just once more." "Feel it?" I asked. He smiled weakly. "Close my eyes, hear the waves, smell the salt in the air. Pretend I'm there." That night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. His voice echoed in my mind, that quiet longing of a man who knew his time was slipping away. I searched my phone for sounds of waves, seagulls, and wind. I looked for a way to bring the ocean into his room, if not in reality, then through imagination. The next evening, after my shift, I returned to room 6. He was awake, waiting, eyes tired but hopeful. "Close your eyes," I told him. He obeyed. I played the sound of gentle waves from my phone. Then I opened a small bottle of sea breeze oil I bought that morning, letting its scent fill the air. "The wind is warm," I whispered. "The sun is soft. You're sitting on the sand, your feet touching the water." He smiled faintly, his breathing slow and even. "I can feel it," he murmured. "Thank you." Minutes passed, and his hand loosened in mine. For a second, I thought he had drifted off to sleep, but then I heard his voice again, so faint it almost blended with the sound of the sea. "Nurse Mara, When I'm gone, promise me one thing. I swallowed hard. What is it? Go to the ocean for me. The real one. Bring a white flower. Throw it in the waves, and tell the sea I kept my promise. My throat tightened. What promise? But his eyes were already closing, a peaceful smile forming on his lips, and for the first time since I met him, the monitor beside his bed was silent. The hospital felt heavier after Mr. Adrian was gone. Room 6 was cleaned out the next day, beds stripped, machines silent, curtains drawn, but the smell of sea breeze oil still lingered faintly in the air. I stood by the empty bed for a long time. He had left quietly, peacefully, as if the waves had finally carried him home. Still, his last words kept haunting me. Go to the ocean for me. Bring a white flower. Tell the sea I kept my promise. I didn't know what promise he meant, but I knew I couldn't ignore his final wish. 3 days later, on my day off, I took a bus headed for Batangas. It was a long ride, and the closer I got to the coast, the more the air began to smell like him. The sea, the salt, the quiet. In my bag was a single white rose, still fresh, wrapped carefully in tissue. When I reached the shore, it was already late afternoon. The waves were calm, the horizon golden with sunset. I took off my shoes and walked barefoot into the sand. The water was cool, and the wind played gently with my hair. This is for you, Mr. Adrian, I whispered. I knelt at the water's edge, holding the rose tight in my hand. You said to tell the sea you kept your promise, but I don't know what promise that was. I sighed, looking at the waves. I hope, wherever you are, you found peace. I threw the flower into the water. It floated for a moment, then drifted away, carried by the tide. Just then, something touched my ankle, a small glass bottle, half emburied in the sand. I picked it up. Inside was a folded piece of paper. My heart pounded. I opened it carefully. The note was worn, but the handwriting was unmistakable. It was his. To whoever finds this, I once promised a woman I'd take her to see the sea. But my sickness came first. If someone reads this, please tell her I never stopped loving her. Adrian. My breath caught. Was this his message? A letter meant for someone else, left behind in memory or fate? I turned the bottle over, trembling. On the bottom, scratched faintly in the glass, was a name. Elena. A chill ran through me. That name sounded familiar. I had seen it once on his medical record. Next of kin, none. Emergency contact, Elena D. I realized then what his promise was. He wasn't only asking for peace, he was asking for closure. As the waves washed over my feet, I whispered again, this time to both of them, your promise is kept, Adrian. The sea knows. And for a moment, the wind grew warmer, the waves gentler, like a soft thank you from a faraway soul. That night, I couldn't sleep. The sound of the sea still echoed in my ears, and that single name, Elena, kept whispering in my thoughts. Who was she? The woman Adrian had promised to take to the ocean before his heart gave out. The next morning, I decided to find her. It wasn't part of my duty as a nurse anymore, but it felt like something he would have wanted me to do. I went back to the hospital and spoke with the records clerk, pretending I needed to update patient documentation. She handed me the file, not questioning why. There it was again, written in faded blue ink. Emergency contact, Elena D. No current address. But below that, in a corner, was a note I hadn't noticed before. Last known location, Santa Lucia Home for the Elderly, Tarali Batangas. My heart raced. Tarali, just a few hours from the same beach where I had thrown Adrian's flower. That afternoon, I found myself standing outside an old stone building surrounded by mango trees. The air smelled of guava and the faint sweetness of the countryside. A nun greeted me at the gate. "Good afternoon, sister. I'm looking for someone named Elena. Elena D." The nun's expression softened. "Ah, yes. She's been with us for years, but her health isn't what it used to be." She led me to a small garden behind the chapel. There, in a wheelchair by the fountain, sat an old woman with silver hair and eyes that seemed to stare far into the past. "Mrs. Elena," I said gently.
She turned slowly. Her gaze was distant. But when I mentioned Adrian, her lips trembled. "Adrian," she whispered. "I haven't heard that name in so long." I knelt beside her. "He wanted to see the sea one last time," I told her. "He couldn't, but I went there for him. I threw a white flower into the waves. For both of you." Tears welled in her eyes. Her frail hands gripped mine tightly. "I was 19 when I met him," she said, her voice shaking. "He was a fisherman's son. We dreamed of leaving our small town and seeing the world. But then he got sick. He told me he'd take me to see the ocean one day." She looked down, a tear slipping down her cheek. "He left to find work in the city. I waited. Letters stopped coming. I thought he forgot." I took a deep breath and pulled something from my bag. The bottle I had found. Her hands trembled as she read the letter inside. When she reached the end, her eyes filled with tears that glistened like morning dew. "He never forgot," she whispered. "He kept his promise." For a long while, we sat in silence, an old woman and a nurse bound by the last wish of a man who loved too deeply. Before I left, she asked me one thing. "Will you take me there, to the sea?" I smiled softly, though my heart ached. "Yes," I said. "He wanted you to see it." And as the sun dipped low, I knew that Adrian's story wasn't over yet. The sea had one more promise to keep. It took almost a week to arrange everything. The nuns from Santa Lucia agreed to let Elena out for a day, as long as she was accompanied by medical staff. I volunteered immediately. I told them it was part of her emotional therapy. But deep down, I knew it was something more sacred. On the morning of the trip, the sun was shy, hidden behind soft gray clouds. I pushed Elena's wheelchair toward the van, her frail hands clutching a small white handkerchief embroidered with her initials. "Are you ready, Miss Elena?" I asked gently. She smiled, her eyes bright despite her age. "I've been ready for 50 years." The drive to the shore was quiet. The sound of the tires against the road mixed with the occasional chirp of birds. Every few minutes, Elena would look out the window, as if searching for something only her heart could recognize. When we finally reached the same beach where I had thrown Adrian's flower, the wind carried the scent of salt and rain. The tide was rising and the waves whispered softly, almost like they knew we were coming. I helped her out of the van, wrapped a blanket around her shoulders, and wheeled her close to the water's edge. "There it is," I said quietly. "The sea." She stared at it for a long time. Her lips trembled and tears rolled down her cheeks. "It's more beautiful than I imagined," she whispered. She reached into her lap and opened the handkerchief. Inside was a small seashell, perfectly white, worn smooth by time. "This was from Adrian," she said. "He gave it to me before he left, said he'd trade it for a real one from the sea someday." I felt my chest tighten. She looked out over the waves, her voice soft but strong. "Adrian, I made it," she said. "You kept your promise. And I'm here." I didn't say anything. I just stood beside her, listening to the ocean hum like an old lullaby. Then something strange happened. A sudden gust of wind swept across the beach, stronger than before. The waves grew higher, foaming white as they rolled toward us. "Adrian," I said quickly, holding her hand. But she was smiling. The wind played with her silver hair, and for the briefest moment I saw her as she must have been, young, radiant, standing beside a man who looked just like Adrian, holding hands as they faced the sea together. The air shimmered around her, like sunlight through water. Then, calm. The waves quieted, the winds softened. When I looked back down, Elena's hand was still in mine, but she was gone. Her eyes were closed, her lips curved into the faintest smile. I fell to my knees in the sand, tears spilling down my face. The ocean stretched endlessly before me, silent now, as if it had witnessed the end of something long overdue. I stood there for hours, watching the horizon, until I noticed something floating near the shore. A white flower, the same kind I had thrown days ago. It drifted toward me, then stopped, caught gently by the tide. And in that moment I knew the sea had kept its promise. A month had passed since that day at the beach. The hospital halls felt quieter, almost gentler, but a part of me still lingered by the sea. Every time I passed room 6, I could almost hear his laughter or catch a trace of that sea breeze scent that never seemed to fade. Sometimes I wondered if it had all been a dream, if Elena's peaceful smile beneath the sunset and the flower that returned from the waves were only symbols of goodbye. But deep inside, I knew the ocean had given them something real, something eternal. One Sunday morning, I decided to visit the beach again. It was the same stretch of shore where Adrian's story ended and where mine somehow began. The sky was painted in gold and rose, the air crisp with the scent of salt. I walked barefoot on the wet sand carrying a bouquet of white lilies, one for Adrian, one for Elena. As I reached the edge of the water, the waves came gently toward me, washing over my feet as if greeting an old friend. I laid down the flowers and whispered, "You're together now. You're home." Just then, something glimmered beneath the shallow water. It was small, maybe a shell or a bottle. Curiosity pulled me closer. I reached down and picked it up. It was another glass bottle, sealed tightly, the same kind as before. Inside was a folded piece of paper, the edges worn but still intact. My hands trembled as I opened it. The handwriting was Adrian's. "If the sea brings this back to you, then it means I've found her. I've kept my promise, and she's by my side now. And the waves have taken us home. Thank you, Mara, for helping 2 lost souls find peace. You reminded me that love never dies, it just changes form. Whenever you hear the sea, know that we are there, watching the sunset, smiling." The words blurred as tears filled my eyes. A warm breeze brushed my cheek, gentle, comforting, like a touch of gratitude from somewhere beyond. I smiled through the tears and whispered, "Goodbye, Adrian. Goodbye, Elena." And as I turned to leave, I noticed something beautiful. 2 white butterflies dancing in the air, circling above the water before flying toward the horizon together. The sky shimmered with light, and for the first time in a long while, I felt something deeper than sadness. It was peace, the kind that comes when love finishes its journey home. That night, as I closed my eyes, I heard the faint sound of waves again, calm, steady, and endless. And in that quiet rhythm of the sea, I could almost hear their laughter, soft, eternal, carried forever by the tide. Waves.